Imagine surviving one of the deadliest wars in human history. You've watched cities burn. You've buried friends. You've spent years fighting for your country's freedom. Finally, the war is over. You should be going home. Instead, someone hands you another rifle and tells you the fight isn't finished. Welcome to the life of one of the Żołnierze Wyklęci, the cursed soldiers. And trust me, the name isn't an exaggeration. It's 1945. Across Europe, people are celebrating. Church bells ring, families reunite, soldiers come home. The nightmare is finally ending. Except not for you. Because while Nazi Germany has fallen, Poland is entering a new chapter, one shaped by a Soviet-backed communist government. For many people, the war is over. For you, it feels like someone simply changed the uniforms. You've already spent years risking your life. You've hidden in forests, carried secret messages, watched friends disappear. You've learned not to trust strangers, not to speak too loudly, not to stay in one place for too long. You thought all of that would end. Instead, it becomes your permanent lifestyle. Now you have a choice. Accept the new government. Go home. Try to rebuild your life. Or continue resisting. Neither option feels safe. Neither option feels fair. History has a cruel habit of offering impossible choices. Some people surrender, some don't. You decide to stay underground, which sounds exciting until you remember what underground actually means. No stable home, no regular income, no certainty, no guarantee you'll live to see next month. You're not hiding for days, you're hiding for years. The forests become your home. Cold winters, wet summers, constant hunger. Every snapping branch makes you reach for your weapon. Every unfamiliar face could be an informer. Every village could offer shelter or betrayal. Sleep becomes a luxury. Trust becomes even rarer. The strange part? The people you're fighting speak your language. They're fellow Poles. Some believe the new government is the only path to rebuilding. Others see it as foreign domination. Communities are divided. Families are divided. Friends find themselves on opposite sides. The lines between ally and enemy become painfully blurred. Meanwhile, the government is looking for you constantly. Police, security services, informants, rewards for information. Your face begins appearing on wanted posters. Not because you've invaded another country, but because you're resisting the one now in power. You're treated as an outlaw, a bandit, an enemy of the state. Whether history later agrees with that label depends on which chapter you read. The longer you stay in hiding, the harder normal life becomes. Imagine forgetting what it feels like to sleep in your own bed, to eat dinner without looking over your shoulder, to walk through a town without wondering who's watching. Fear becomes routine. Routine becomes survival. Some members of the resistance carry out attacks on government forces. Others target informers. Some become symbols of defiance. Others are later accused of crimes against civilians or ethnic minorities. The movement is not one story. It's hundreds of stories. Some inspiring, some tragic, some deeply controversial. War rarely leaves people morally untouched. Neither does its aftermath. As the years pass, your numbers shrink. Some are captured, some are killed. Some accept amnesty, hoping to return to ordinary life. Not everyone who surrenders is forgiven. Some are imprisoned anyway. Others disappear into interrogation rooms. Many never come back.
Capture is terrifying. Interrogations, beatings, pressure to reveal names, pressure to betray friends, pressure to admit things you may or may not have done. The government wants information. It also wants examples. Public trials, public sentences, public warnings. The message is clear. Resistance has a price, and that price is often your future. If you're executed, your family may not even learn where you're buried. If you're imprisoned, years of your life disappear behind bars. If you're released, finding work becomes difficult. People are afraid to associate with you. The label follows you everywhere. Enemy, bandit, traitor. Whether those labels are deserved or not no longer matters. they're attached to your name. Imagine surviving World War II only to lose your peace afterward. Imagine risking everything for your country only to watch your country argue over who you really were. That's your legacy. Not certainty, debate. Decades pass. Governments change. The communist system eventually falls. Suddenly, people begin reopening old files, old graves, old court cases, old memories. Some former resistance fighters are honored. Their names appear on monuments. Their stories enter history books. Families finally learn where loved ones were buried. Long hidden graves are identified. For many, it's a long overdue recognition. But the story doesn't end there, because historians continue studying the movement. Documents emerge, witnesses speak, evidence is examined. Some individuals are celebrated for resisting authoritarian rule. Others are criticized for actions taken during the conflict. The debate continues, and perhaps it always will. History is rarely as simple as heroes versus villains, especially after war. The one thing almost everyone agrees on is this: life as one of the Żołnierze Wyklęci was unimaginably hard. You lived in forests instead of homes. You carried weapons instead of suitcases. You trusted whispers more than newspapers. You measured success not by victories, but by surviving another day. Every sunrise was uncertain. Every meal was uncertain. Every friendship was uncertain. You couldn't plan for next year. Sometimes you couldn't plan for tomorrow. The future belonged to people who expected to have one. You weren't sure you did. You survived one war, only to enter another struggle. You traded battlefields for forests, victory celebrations for hiding places, peace for permanent uncertainty. Some of you became symbols of resistance. Some became subjects of painful controversy. Many became both. But almost all of you shared one thing: you never got the ending you imagined. When you first picked up a rifle, you probably dreamed of the day you'd finally put it down. For thousands of people across post-war Poland, that day came far too late, or never came at all. And maybe that's the greatest tragedy. You fought believing freedom would bring peace. Instead, peace became the one thing you could never quite reach.